Golden Spiral Media presents The Blacklist Exposed.
Hey, it's Troy Heinrichs, Agent Troy Heinrichs to all of you out there. Welcome to The Blacklist Exposed. This is the Season 2 finale live podcast from the Blue Box Cafe in Elgin, Illinois. Let's give it up, everybody.
Did you already say we're at the Blue Box Cafe?
Like 4 times.
Let's say it again. We're at the Blue Box Cafe.
Blue Box Cafe.
So thanks for that. I'm Agent Aaron Peterson, and that was a hell of a finale. Was that everything you wanted it to be?
It was everything and more, and a lot more than I wanted in one particular spot. But we'll get into that later.
Oh, this is going to be spoiler-rific. So if you have not seen the Season 2 finale, hey, it's live, so you can't be messing me up like that. This is while we talk about Season 2 finale, it is going to be spoilerific, so if you haven't seen it, then you probably don't want to listen any further. So, Troy, let's get into the show. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Masha Rostova was the name of the episode, and it aired May 7th, 2015.
No, today is the 14th.
Is it? Well...
We're at the Blue Box Cafe, so the time travel thing might be in effect here.
What is the date? It is May 14th, 2015. It was written by John Bokenkamp. Show notes and other intel for this episode of The Blacklist Exposed can be found at goldensparrowmedia.com/theblacklist. Troy, I want to thank you personally for editing me every week because I screw up a lot.
I could tell.
I'm telling you.
Names,
I appreciate
dates. It's the worst thing to work with this guy. I tell you, it's a pain in the butt.
Work at the show. I don't know what's going on. I watch it every once in a while.
How about this awesome banner from Golden Spiral Media? Thanks to Daryl Darnell and the entire network of podcasters for helping us out this season and making us as great.
That's us.
It's a home.
Right there.
We're in the middle, right
us.
there.
Yep.
And everyone else on the network can use this spot going forward. So look for us at conventions across the country as we travel here coming up soon.
That's right. Troy just jazzed up the banner. That's exciting.
It was a cool banner.
All right. Well, let's get into the episode. What do you want to talk about first?
I don't know. How about we not talk about the lovemaking scene? That's the scene we can just kind of erase from our minds.
Yeah. Can we take a verdict? Is everybody okay with the fact that Liz and Tom made out and did it? Well,
okay, show of hands. Show hands.
Every woman is saying yes.
Show hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, there you go. Okay.
One guy's upset the Ford got shot. The Ford Mustang.
We're like, no, not the Mustang. Come on.
It is a beautiful car. It is a beautiful car.
I love the blue. The blue is a nice color.
It's a pretty car.
But should it have been red is the question.
It looks better with abs. I can tell you that. We're going to talk about the episode, but before we get into that, we're going to talk about our profiling question for this week, which you want to answer.
Was... Who do we think set up Lizzie, right?
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
What do you ultimately want to see in Season 3?
Oh, our next profiling question.
Yes.
Yes.
We'll do feedback later. We've got everything all screwed up because we're doing it live, and we want to talk about the finale right now.
Right now.
So
do it.
The profiling question this week we want everybody to answer is, what do you ultimately want to see in Season 3? What do you want to see?
I would love to see...
Like, the way this ended, did it leave you with you want to see something in particular?
Well, here's something that I was really interested in when I was thinking about this today, was Tom Connolly has been such a real bad guy on the show the last couple of episodes. And
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Wow. And if you were going by a typical Blacklist episode from Season 1 or Season 2, you would have assumed that the Blacklister for this episode would have been called Tom Connolly. But because it was called Masha Rostova, I started to go,
Is this where you get into your stupid theory?
This is a stupid theory,
okay.
And we'll get to my other theory later. Hello. But this theory would be that the Blacklist as we know it, we all said this season was kind of different. It wasn't like it was people Red needed to take out. It was people that Red needed to move on the chessboard. So what if for Season 3, this was the start of our new story? We had the Berlin saga, then we had the Fulcrum saga. This is the new saga, and the new saga is...
The Fugitive?
The Fugitive. It's the Cabal versus Lizzie and Red, and that's why this is now the Cabal's Blacklist.
Explain what you mean, because I know what you mean because you told me, but I don't know if everybody else quite understands what you're saying.
Basically speaking, the Blacklist could be any list of names. It depends on whose point of view the story is being told from.
It could be Red's Little Black Book.
It could be. And Red could still be working for the Cabal at the end of this. We have no flipping clue. But I think for Season 3, it's going to be the Cabal's list of people that the Cabal wants taken off the map. And that's why the story flipped the way it did tonight with Liz going on the run.
Okay, so you think that the list is ultimately, at this point, is the Blacklist, or is the Cabal's list?
Going into season
It's not
3.
actually Red's list.
It's not Red's list.
It's people that they're targeting, but so why was Red targeting him for the first 2 seasons? Are you saying
because it was Red's story. We had to learn who Red was. Then we had to learn who Liz was. Now we get to learn who the Cabal
we
is.
still don't know really who Red is.
Well,
I mean, they alluded to it, but they didn't actually say
they alluded it in my favor.
That it's her mom.
That's what I got at the end of it.
How did you get that? Did he cross his legs? Did he give you a Bruce Jenner look?
I didn't want you to grow
What
up
did he
like
do?
me, and then touched his hand.
Yeah,
I just touched Aaron under the table. If you didn't see that,
That was really uncomfortable. That could mean like a million different things. A million different things.
Me touching your leg or Red
No,
saying
that means one thing, and I don't appreciate it because I'm not that kind of guy. I mean, buy me something first. We're at a cafe. Can you give me a sandwich?
Yeah, could we get this guy one of the hoagies? That'd be great.
So are you still holding to this theory? Now, Troy has this theory, if you've never listened before, that Red is, in fact, Liz's mom, who had a surgery, a reconstructive surgery of some sort. Sexual
very big
identity
procedure.
surgery.
Yes.
That would be very big, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Because they would literally have to add a couple things that weren't there before. It's a big procedure. Do you still think, now do you consider that, I want you to tell people, do you believe this theory, or is this just something your insane mind comes up with?
No, there are definite spots in this show. That you go back to who is the creator of this show, John Bokenkamp. John Bokenkamp writes strong female lead characters. He wrote Taking Lives
like
with Angelina
James
Jolie.
Spader, apparently.
So what a brilliant writing concept this would be, because you have the one, what do you call it? You have Liz, and she's a female character.
What do you call
well,
her?
It's Liz, Lizzie, Agent Keen, depends on which day it is with Red. So you look at it from that perspective, and you say, hey, I really don't want Lizzie to be the focal point, because that would be the play, right? Have a woman character. It looks like John's writing for Lizzie, but what if John is writing for Red, who is actually a woman? And you go back to all of these things, right? You have Lou Lee, likes women, and she talks to Ressler in the first season and says, don't even try. She's not into guys, but yet Lou Lee kisses Red. Naomi says to Liz in season 2, Red doesn't know anybody. Red knows women like nobody else, and the women in the audience can attest to this. Who knows women better than women?
Women?
Right? Because
they didn't seem to attest to it, Troy. They seem pretty quiet. You agree
there
with
we
this?
go. They agree.
You agree with the fact that James Spader's a woman? If he's listening, he might find you. Oh, women love women.
So women know women, and then this whole episode tonight where it's like, I shot my dad. Okay.
Men love women, too. I'm just saying.
That's okay. Women know women.
Women know women. I'm sorry.
They know what they want. They know their desires. They have cry sessions.
Well, why don't they
hug
tell us?
sessions.
That would be great.
You got to go see Pixar's Inside Out later, I guess.
It would make things a lot easier for life.
Anyways, so the point is that at the end of this episode, to me, it says that because she shot her dad and mom was still alive, that as they're sitting on the park bench and he puts his hand on her leg and holds her hand and says, hey, I didn't want you to grow up like me. To me, that still says that my theory's in play.
To me,
your theory was shot down last week in a week. So my theory's been going for 2 seasons.
Which theory was mine?
That Tom was the person that poisoned him.
Yeah, Tom didn't poison anybody. He apparently, it was totally not him. It was some old pamphlet hippie guy. Sorry. I got that wrong.
So bam, you're wrong.
Really wrong. I honestly think Red has a familiar tie to her, but I don't really know exactly what that tie is. I don't believe your theory. Though it would be good writing. It would be crazy.
It would be awesome because the original...
awesome might be a little strong.
The original impetus of this theory is that Kiefer Sutherland was supposed to play the role of Raymond Red Reddington in season 1.
And he would be fantastic because he is one of the greatest actors that ever lived.
Absolutely. But he did have to do his
24
Live Another Day show, so that's why he didn't do the Blacklist. My original theory was, at the end of the series, it's a giant Scooby mask. He would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those rotten kids, and they pulled off Red's mask, and it was Kiefer Sutherland underneath. That would have been awesome. But that got me thinking, well, what if he pulls off the mask, and it is, Katerina Rostova, not Christina, Katerina Rostova.
Okay. I guess we'll find out. I think Mom is going to be an important part. However Mom figures into this in the 3rd season, that's definitely what my theory is in terms of the 3rd season.
But we were all wrong because of the fact that we didn't...
I was wrong about one thing. I don't think that means I'm wrong about the entire series.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah, not possibly. Darn it.
Neat.
Darn it. I'm trying not to swear because we're on YouTube.
Yeah, we don't want to get banned from the YouTube.
Do you want to get into this show?
Let's get into the show.
Okay. This week, the target was Masha. Masha.
I knew you were going to go there.
It's too easy. Did you not do that during the show?
I'm hangry.
As soon as the title comes on, that's the first thing I do. Masha.
Masha.
Instead of a kind of case in the background, the entire episode is focused around Liz and her escape. Are you fumbling on your phone? You can't be on your phone when we're live.
I am not on the phone. I'm trying to get in touch with Rory.
I got a buddy that does this
Rory
all the time.
and all the people that are super fans in the Blacklist Exposed Facebook group. If you want, you can go ahead and message me your stuff for later on in the show so that I can get them. Go ahead and just message me directly.
Okay, now put your phone down.
My phone is down. I'm just watching it for it to come in.
Ask Scott Clark. I will slap people for less. I swear I will. Okay, so it's entirely about the setup of Liz. So the entire episode is not based around, let's bring down one particular member of the Blacklist. It's Liz has been set up. Is she or is she not going to get out of it, and how is she going to get out of it?
Correct.
So when the episode starts, exactly how did you think she would get out of it, or did you think this would be something that would drag into next season?
I would think that it was going to... I was assuming she was going to get out of it, but then how she got out of it would be the driver for next year. And basically that's kind of what happened. It was she got out of it, but she got out of it by killing somebody.
She didn't get out of it. She got more into it.
Yeah.
She never got out of it. She got way more into it.
Way deeper.
Yeah. So how do you figure she got out of anything?
Well, she got out of the original situation because she went deeper by killing Connolly.
I don't understand your train of thought. This is what happens when you play with a phone.
It doesn't matter what she did before because she's going to go to jail for a first-degree murder.
Yeah. Now, is there a way to come out of that, though? I guess is one question I have.
No, first-degree murder. She pulled the trigger.
She basically got the harbor master killed, and she walked away from that.
Tom killed the harbor master.
I understand what happened. I watched the same show.
She killed Hawkins in the third degree or whatever you want, a fifth degree maybe or something, because she didn't actually kill him. She wasn't unaware.
She hid it.
She pulled the trigger. First degree, point blank.
I realize
took out Connolly. She is done.
You should. What's that? Plastic surgery. And she comes back next year as like Katherine Heigl or what?
She comes back as her dad.
She comes back as her dad. That's great. It's all tied together.
Exactly.
Yeah, what I was taking from the episode was I thought it was going to go more into the actual conspiracy, and they did allude to it. They explained, where she was coming from, but I really thought it was going to go more into exactly what their connection was. I really thought she was going to go on the lam with Tom. with Tom, which I'm so thankful that didn't happen.
No.
But I'm still bummed that they made sweet love.
And we were really close. Our theory last week that we had of how this was going to wrap up was that she was going to take the nap in the bottom of the boat. I can't remember. Is it Michael? I think it was. Mike? Was it Tom? Aaron? I apologize. We don't have it in front of us. But the theory last week that was she's going to fall asleep in the bottom of the boat, and then Tom's going to pick up the cell phone, call somebody in Russian, and start speaking Russian, and that's where it was going to cut to black. So you were about 75% of the way there. She was on the boat. She did take a nap. Tom did drive off into the sunset. He just never made the phone call. That we know of.
We do find out that hippie pamphlet guy was the guy who set Keen up. And as Keen and Phelps, did we decide what we're calling? Are we calling him
It's
Phelps?
Jacob Phelps.
It's
yeah.
Jacob Phelps.
Well,
now.
we can go back to Tom now because Connolly's dead.
So he is still Tom. Because she still calls him Tom, so as long as she calls him Tom, the vote is Tom. Okay, Tom.
Tom from the room, okay.
Tom, alive Tom. He helps her pursue the hippie and his bitchin' new Mustang. And basically that hippie gets killed. Now that's the only person really that could have cleared her.
True.
Theoretically.
Unless there's evidence somewhere on a computer or thumb drive or something that they could clear it that way.
Well, I mean,
which I think she got.
They have her DNA, so it's kind of hard to come up with anything else.
But she had the tape from the train station, from the security camera, so she could use that to clear her name, but still didn't really prove anything.
No,
she
it
still
didn't prove anything.
carried it and carried it out, I guess.
You don't sound so sure of that either.
I still say that there was a second person at that handshake ceremony at the thing last week.
They showed the train station in slow motion. Like he did a lot in about half a second.
I'm not saying that Liz didn't do it.
Spray upper and
Liz did it, okay? But I'm saying there was still a second person that was infected in case Liz didn't do it or couldn't get there because she got stuck in traffic in a Mustang.
I disagree with that argument.
I say Ressler was still infected somehow.
So you think long term, season 3, Ressler's actually complicit in that.
And that's how Ressler has to come help
you're
Liz.
Okay, you're still sticking with that.
I am.
Well, let's talk about the characters and where they went this episode. That's what we do every week. We break it down, basically the quick story and then the characters and where their story went. This week, Aram and Dembe didn't do a whole lot. Aram just basically did nothing.
I was actually sad because when Red gets out of the car at the end and puts on his hat, and it seemed like Liz was kind of blowing cold air out of her mouth, I thought Dembe was going to the trunk for his hat. And then he didn't pull out his hat. I wanted to see the Dembe hat again.
Well,
come on, Isham. We need the Dembe hat.
Outside of that, I mean, he looks stoic, but they did have a nice little moment where a warm moment, I would say.
Yeah, Red likes to kiss people.
He loves to kiss people. Guys, especially, because that alludes to your theory.
It's exactly right.
That's what you just want.
He kissed women, too. I mean, he kissed, what's her name last week?
Yeah, he kisses everybody.
He kissed Jelly Donut Lady.
I mean, really.
He didn't kiss the botanist, though.
People should be concerned about hygiene at this point. That's not safe. That's not good.
Red's the most dirty man in the world, and yet you let him touch your lips. What's up with that? Or your cheek. It's scary.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's because he'll kill you if you don't.
That's true.
And Drop-Off came back, and he agreed to remain silent per Red's instructions. What did his coming back into the episode serve? What plot device did you get from that?
Well, what I loved about Drop-Off's character was it was the big reveal tonight that he's actually been like a bad guy all season, and we just didn't know about him until last week.
Explain that, because we had a little bit of issue with the feed, so I missed some of it, so I didn't catch that part. I mean, I heard parts of it, but...
So basically, in a nutshell, Drop-Off was the one that manufactured a virus of some kind that manifested a glio... I'm going to say it wrong, and I'm going to get yelled at by Linda for it. A glioblastoma, right? And because of that, it showed symptoms of what it would look like. So that's why Cooper needed the cane, but he never actually had one. And when he got better, it's because it was a timed release drug that wore off, basically, and it was all a ploy to get Ressler involved, which is what you said way back in the first episode of this season.
Hey, I got one right.
Ding!
I got one.
He's got 5 wrong.
Yeah,
I got one right.
But I got one right. That's really all that matters. That's how guys look at this. We get one right. In terms of the rest of the episode, Samar, I'm pretty sure her shirt got lower.
I think it did.
Yeah. It's like, I don't think you can be in the field with that dress code if you work for the government, but she's got a pass.
As long as she still has the blazer on.
Yeah, I guess. If you got a blazer, you can have your shirt all the way down to your navel, and that's fine, which I'm perfectly cool with. Yeah, I'm not. It wasn't a complaint. It wasn't a complaint. I was a big fan.
So the question I have for you then is: so you have Ressler, you have Aram, you have Samar. They're back at the post office at the end. Mm-hmm. Do you think that the crew is going to stay together, or do you think Tom Connolly is going to come through on his promise that other people are going to break them up, send her back to Iran, put him in jail? Ressler's the one that I think is the only one that can get away with it, and that's why I think Ressler still was complicit somehow.
I don't think they're going to, because all the information is out. Red did a very good job of making sure all the information was out. So I don't think that's going to happen. I just think that was a really well orchestrated threat to make sure that they were aware that everybody's going to be a factor of this conspiracy. So if you don't, oh, hey, look, pictures.
Hey.
That's all I got.
Tweeting it out. There we go.
Appreciate that.
Which, if you are watching and you want to tweet it out, it's goldenspiralmedia.com/live, and then you could go ahead and send it out so more people can join in.
And the Twitter is at the Blacklist GSM.
At the Blacklist GSM.
Yeah. Now I forgot totally where I was. What was I talking about?
You were talking about
something something
profound,
mind blowing. I'm sure it was profound. Okay. Oh well. Well, whatever it was, I hope somebody else remembers because I forgot.
What's in your notes?
Samar.
We were talking about the people leaving and getting.
Yes, the threats.
I keep them on track. That's how this works.
Not for a while.
You should see it on Saturday morning.
I feel bad for people who have never tuned in.
Remember the last episode we did at the evening time frame? He's tired. Just kidding.
I am tired. It's been a long day. God, you're so mean. I like the threats. I like the orchestrated threats. I thought it was a well-planned threat. It wasn't veiled. It was very detailed and specific. And I really think that it's going to go away because I think that was a Connolly threat. I think whoever takes his place is probably going to have their own particular specific set of skills that they're going to address.
That's true.
So they're going to want to threaten everybody their own way instead of the Connolly way.
What did you think of the whole Fulcrum data coming out?
I didn't see that coming. But you're getting way ahead.
I am getting
Why don't
ahead.
you slow down.
Okay.
Samar, she seemed pretty bummed that Keen escaped. Did you notice that? She didn't seem happy that she got away.
Maybe that was just the stoic thing for the final shot and the way the final shot was actually done.
She looked concerned. She did look to me. She looked concerned.
She looked concerned, like, Liz, I hope you're okay, because remember, Red put Samar on the task force, and because of that, Samar is praying that Red and Liz are okay because they're together. That's why she looked concerned, not concerned like, oh, I hope we catch her.
Oh, we've got a couple comments. Daryl said, I think James Spader is a big robot. That's an interesting theory. Carol wants
to... He kind of looked like that coming out of the car, right? He was like,
yeah.
Put on my hat.
Sorry, I haven't been checking this. I've been too busy listening to this idiot. Carol said, why didn't Liz and Cooper tape the whole conversation with Connolly? Exactly. Apparently we're not the only ones that wonder that. What do you think?
That's a really good point, but if you tape that whole conversation, then you also tape your confession, basically, because then they get shot.
Because she did shoot him in the chest.
Yeah. Don't shoot him. Don't be that person. I want you to be good, Lizzie.
Well, she's really good. She can edit out the shooting part.
That's true. She could have.
The tape cuts out right before the bullet hits. Problem solved. Okay, we'll keep an eye on this box. So if you have any other questions and you're in the Golden Spiral Media Live, then be sure to put your question in there and we'll get to it. Back on topic. So you think that Samar was not... She was happy that she escaped. Because for me, I saw it as she's not so happy.
She was happy that she got free, but concerned for her friend that her friend's on the run.
Okay, fair enough.
That's the concerned look on her face.
Well, we're both... We don't want to spend too much time on Samar because she didn't really do anything else. Ressler, he got made acting director.
Yeah, that's what I got from him today.
Yeah.
It seemed like he was kind of positioning his scenes.
At the end, it really felt like at the end of the episode, his character was situated to finally have a bigger role, which we've been talking about for a while. We really want him to have a bigger role in the show. He's not been as prominent as he needed to be in order to really take over that slot. And
That's
now
true.
he's been upped. Cooper's kind of, he's off on his own rebel phase. And so now you actually have Ressler in a position where he can affect the story a lot more than he could before.
Okay, I can see where you're going with that, but remember, Harold was at the task force at the end as well. So Harold's still in his position of power, I think, because he didn't pull the trigger, and he could say, "Oh, I would try to stop her. Don't kick me off the team, Cabal. I'm okay." So he's still in power, but Ressler will be the number 2 to Harold in season 3.
You think so?
I think so.
I think Ressler's going to stay in charge because he did a lot of shady stuff near the end, and Ressler stayed good guy.
So you're going to say the Cabal,
by the book.
The Cabal is going to put Ressler in at number 1 and have Harold work for Rhett. Oh my gosh, I can't talk tonight. I
didn't say anything about the Cabal. I'm saying that Ressler's still going to be in charge. Cooper's going to be off on his own. I think he's going to do more. He's going to be more of a rogue agent
in season 3.
Yes, I think it would be a great twist.
Even though he was back at the post office.
Yes, but he wasn't acting director again, was he?
I don't know.
Right, by the close of the end, I don't think so.
He was just there with everybody else.
Yeah,
they didn't really
Harold,
say who was who.
Rory said Harold gave up his credentials at the end.
That's true. He did give up his credentials for Liz. That's right.
Like I said. Yeah. So he's going to be a rogue agent.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm getting way too close
to the
microphone.
But he could have gotten his credentials back, too. We just didn't see it.
No. He just said he gave them up. Now you're just inventing story.
Okay.
You can't do that. It has to actually happen.
Okay.
It's kind of like NBC showing stills of a homeless guy outside a train station, but that kind of gives it away. But
they
it
also
show
manufactured a disease for him, and he was in his house in the start of season 2. So anything can happen in the next 18 weeks.
Stop it. Let's move on to actually one question. Do you think he's actually going to go after Liz hard, Ressler, or because at this point he sees her as someone? Maybe it's not the partner he thought she was. From his perspective.
So this is the part of the show we always go to this answer could go either way. Because Ressler could be the loyal wrestler. We said that he's always been a by-the-book guy from the beginning. But it could also be played that way because of the fact that it's the show. So he might be playing by the book in order to help Liz misdirect somewhere else.
How could he, at this point, given his situation where he's at, he's an active director, and I assume he'd be made just full-time director instead of an interim
Potentially.
director. Yeah. I don't see him being able to help her because it's so obvious that she has killed someone. The only person I could see that getting her cleared would be Red.
Right, but Ressler could use the power at the post office with Samar because Samar is tied to Red and filter information that way. Because as long as the information's filtering, it still looks like Ressler's clear. Because they could just say, oh, it's another mole, and blame Aram or somebody.
I don't know. I think he's going to go after her because in his mind, Connolly's death is really on his hand.
Well,
it's really,
everybody
his hands are dirty, too.
That is true.
Because he let her go. So the fact that Connolly ended up dead, I think he's going to take that personal, that I trusted you, and you went and you shot the really smiley guy.
Cool.
Who I liked a lot, so I'm really bummed that he's no longer in the show, I assume. Unless he was wearing a vest because suddenly it's NYPD Blue or something. We'll see. I'm pretty sure he's out of the show. Cooper, wow, he got a real story arc this year.
Yes,
or this episode, I mean.
The fight scene I thought was fantastic. I mean, we were looking for Cooper to stand up and be kind of that aggressor all season. We wanted him to have a bigger part this season from last year. And, man, that fight scene at the end was well worth the 22-episode wait.
Yeah, I just got to tell you, I called it. He's not sick.
We
called it.
We called it.
I don't know if you did, but you jumped on board.
Yeah.
We did call that a long time ago that he never was actually sick. So, woo! Peace.
Keeping score.
No.
2.
I got 2. I got 12 wrong, but I got 2 right, and that's really all I care about. Throughout this episode, he's threatened pretty heavily, including Charlene again. Which
right.
I told you just don't mess with a man's wife. He would rather die than set up an agent, so he's put on administrative leave. I really like that he finally stood up for what was right, because the last couple episodes have really been bumming me out with how far he was willing to bend.
It's true.
For me, it almost felt like it was getting really close to betraying the character that I had seen established the first year and a half, and they got back on track. He does help Keen escape, so Connolly's blood is on his hands too, and I do think that he is going to bear a lot of that responsibility because he was there when it happened. I mean, he could have, dove in front of the bullet or something if he was a real hero, but because at this point, I really like Connolly, so I really didn't want him to go.
I know. That was the most...
I was like, Ressler, there's some drugs right in front of that bullet.
Coolest part of the episode, but the problem is that even though it was the coolest part of the episode, now we lose our coolest bad guy, and then there's Mr. Strathan still sitting there as the director, and I wonder what... I keep looking at the TV in the upper right-hand corner because that's where I watched the show tonight, and I'm like envisioning the show still playing up there on the thing.
It's not playing anymore.
It's like the instant replay of a sports game or something. But yeah.
But it's still not playing.
It's not.
I mean, we can keep looking at it, and nope, nothing there.
The director, I think, is interesting. I'd love to see what they can do with his character more next season.
David Strahan was in the episode for like 3 seconds.
Yep.
I mean, he's a well-respected actor. I mean, that's his job. He get paid I don't know how much. Just to be like, hey, I'm going to read a paper. All right, guys. See ya.
He read a paper. This is like the 3rd time now because, remember, the first time we saw him, you had Luther Braxton hanging up hogtied behind him in his office. The next time we see him in his office, he's holding a tongue in a box.
That is like the best job ever.
That's all he does. He's like just opens up stuff from Red and goes, oh, crap.
That is his job.
Oh, crap.
Okay, we got some comments from people that are watching live. You ready?
Sure.
Carol says they don't have to shoot him if they have evidence of their setting her up on tape.
Read that again.
They don't have to shoot him if they have evidence of their setting her up on tape. So they didn't need to shoot Connolly, but they had to shoot Connolly, I guess, is what you're saying. I'm kind of confused.
I don't know why you would have to shoot Connolly. She shot Connolly because she was pissed off. First-degree murder. She shot him cold-blooded.
Can we say manslaughter? I mean, really, there's some negotiation here. I think we can make a deal.
Plea deal?
I think we can make a deal.
I'm sure Red's got a lawyer in the network.
Carol, if you're still there, then please retype that because I'm having a hard time understanding. We're stupid and tired. So
why shoot him because you have the evidence? I agree with that statement. She shot him because she was pissed off. Hell hath no fury than
Roy
a woman
said
scorned.
Ressler was the case agent on Red when the show started. Why wouldn't he lead the task force against Red?
That makes perfect sense. I agree with that.
With an oxy addiction. Apparently everybody knows about that too. I don't know if it's still...
The one storyline from Season 2, and we'll talk about that. So we're going to have a great fan feedback episode next week, so get your theories in. But that's one of the plot threads for this season that I thought they kind of went away from too quickly, was the whole addiction thing for Ressler, which would have, I thought, played in really well nicely with this episode tonight.
Yeah, and don't forget, like Rory said, don't forget Lizzie's checkered past in the Madeline Pratt episode.
It's true, too.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Lots of places.
Teresa says, okay, I've decided Diego, who plays Ressler, has got to be Bokengan's brother-in-law or some kind of family member in real life because he's got a permanent job.
Well,
Does that mean you want him gone or what?
Well, no, because he signed a contract for 6 years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he signed a contract for 6. So Ressler's going to be on for 6 years. So
is James Spader and Boone?
I didn't see any of their contracts, but
they
I know
locked him down before everybody else.
Ressler was locked in for 6 years, and that's because they want to sell more alcohol on advertisements for the drinking game.
That's funny. Oh, that's funny. Okay, let's go to Tom Connolly. Poor Connolly, he bit it. He is well aware of this setup, and he goes into detail of how well aware he is. Liz was handpicked for this setup. Who do you think picked her? The director? Or is there someone, because you have this theory that there's someone much higher that we're going to meet next season. Is that who you think it is?
Right, either the president theory or some other person. I'm still going with the higher up theory. I don't think the director is just a pawn. Kind of like Connolly said, it's like I'm a small pawn in something bigger, so if you take me out, someone else is going to replace me.
Right.
And because of that, that's exactly what's going to happen. Someone's going to replace even the director, because the director is a director until they're no longer the director. Someone's got to replace
Hobbs.
You
said director a lot in that statement. I don't know what
you said. Director with Ressler, too. So.
I'm just saying you said it a lot. It was like 4 times in 3 words.
Is there a counter in the chat? We just say how many times we say director. It's a synonym for alias.
Stop it. The show is not Alias, although it's kind of close. It's kind of close. Also, what he says is they find her pretty quick. They get the DNA sample. She doesn't get out of the building. I actually was surprised about that. By the way that the show ended last episode, I really thought Liz was going to start this episode on the lam. And she actually never got out. They got the DNA sample. They confirmed it before anything outside the post office ever happens. Are you surprised by that?
No, not really.
No?
No.
You thought they were going to bust her as soon as possible?
Yeah, because part of the cool thing of the Blacklist is like the interrogation scenes. So even with the Berlin Saga, when they had that really cool one where they had all the people from the plane they were going through at the end of the last season, I knew there had to be an interrogation scene this evening, because she had to be like, I'm innocent, I tell you. There's no way this is going to happen. You can't hold me here, and da-da-da-da-da. Exactly what happened, so that they could have the cool Red, Aram, and everybody helping her break out, which was like the whole first half of the episode that really didn't need to be there. We needed more of the last 15 minutes than the first 45.
Somebody's a new drinking game. Every time Troy says director, do a shot. That's great.
You make that happen, Chris?
And apparently the contract talks happened months ago. I did not know that.
Yes.
I don't follow that kind of stuff. I follow the show stuff. I don't really follow who's going to be. It's just, for me, it's kind of like a spoiler. So thanks for ruining it for me. So now I know he's going to be there.
Well, doesn't
him
mean
and his perfect hair.
It could be like football, right? Where he stops playing and they just keep paying him.
Okay, Carol clarified. I mean that Liz should have taped him instead of killing him, but I agree with you. She killed him out of crazed anger.
That's good.
Is there any other kind? Calm anger?
Depression anger?
No, that's just sad. That's just mopey.
Deer hunter anger?
Well, when they go to confront him, when Cooper and Liz go to confront Connolly, is that bothering you?
It is a little bit.
Really? The guy was playing on his phone when we were recording a minute ago? You're going to sit there and give me grief? Okay, when they go to confront him, they tell him that the doctor recorded the conversations. He's not worried about this at all. He's not worried about anything.
Okay.
I mean, he's basically, I think if you recorded him, he still wouldn't be worried about it, because as he said, these are powerful people. They got you off without a blinking an eye. They can get me off too.
True.
So what do you think? Do you agree with that, or do you think he was just being cocky and bluffing?
No, I think he was being cocky and bluffing. I'm standing here in this great hall where I'm having this awesome buffet later tonight and have these people and come praise me, which I don't understand that whole sequence anyway, because he's there for a cop dinner, and yet he let the one person go that killed a cop. Why are the cops going to like him at this dinner? That was confusing.
Well, yeah, I guess that's one way to look at it. That's an interesting
I let the
way to
cop
look
killer
at it.
go. Come have a dinner with me. Smiling Tom Connolly for president.
So do you think it was a stupid idea to confront him like that to begin with?
Absolutely.
Do you?
But that's what I said last week. Remember? We said, she's like, oh, they're not going to do that. I was like, well, she was ballsy enough to go in and take the fulcrum right to the director, so why wouldn't she just come in and confront everybody? And that's exactly what she did. Confronted Tommy right there in the grand ballroom.
Now it's a game of Clue.
Exactly.
I'm going to go home and sleep with my wife. Nobody?
No.
I guess nobody saw Clue the movie. That's too bad. It's great. You should watch
I
it.
played the game.
Huh?
The movie was just not so...
The movie was fantastic.
The movie was funny, but...
Yeah, that's what fantastic
Not that
is.
you're going to remember it line for line.
Whatever. I can remember it line for line. You want me to quote the whole movie? I'll
In
make
the
sure
ballroom
everybody hangs
with the
up
revolver.
right now. Okay, so let's go to... We've got Tom Connolly. He's dead. Sorry. And he was going to send Samar back to the Middle East. That was pretty cold.
Dude, that was cold.
That was cold. Tom Keene / Jacob Phelps, he starts on a boat with his guns and, fully armed. And he really wants to get Liz out of there. He wants to help Liz just basically escape. He doesn't seem too interested in actually clearing her name. Did you notice that?
Exactly.
So do you think that means he's complicit in some way? Because I still think he's complicit in some way.
I know, of course, you think he's still complicit in some way. You hate the guy. The
I
character.
Don't hate him.
The character.
The character has run its course. That's what I think. I don't hate the guy at all.
You hate the guy. That's a good point. No. I think that he truly loves her, and that's why they made out on the boat. And I think that at the end of the day, we're going to see Tom is going to be somewhere like a safe house or something that Red's going to have to take Liz to. And I think what some people were saying was that Red and Tom hook up for season 3 to keep Liz safe. I think that is totally plausible. So I think that Tom was completely perfect this week in the fact that he cares about Liz, took care of Liz, did what he needed to do. I don't think he's a bad guy at this point from everything we saw tonight.
Maybe he was just doing all that nice stuff because he wanted to get in there. You know what I mean?
Could have been.
That happened.
He took the Band-Aid off so that he could prove that he got the tattoo.
I got rid of my tattoo. Now I want to get naked. And that's what happened.
And now I just have a giant hickey from my other girlfriend. Because that's what it looked like.
Now that settled the debate because last week you weren't convinced that he actually got rid of the tattoo. You were 100% sure that he just put the Band-Aid on to cover it up. Because that's what guys do.
So that he could be a player, but then instead he took the Band-Aid off so he could be a player.
That made no sense whatsoever. That's what happens when a guy tries to sound really cool, and he's not. But I'm glad that he got rid of it because I was tired of the racism. It was getting a little old.
Yep.
But she totally...
He put it on his racing stripes on his car instead.
She made sweet love to a racist, really.
Yep.
No, I was bothered by that. I was really ticked off that they actually had sex. Yeah, because... Not because I'm against sex scenes. I think they're both very pretty people, and if they want to get naked, God bless them. But it's more of those two characters, by becoming intimate, to me that brings their romance back into the fold, where I just don't want it. It just feels like if somebody betrays you that much, I mean, that's worse than anything I could think of. Basically lied to her continuously, horribly for years, basically seemed to want to kill her at one point, and now you want to make sweet... Nothing's with her? I don't understand that.
So correct me here because I might get this wrong. Stockholm Syndrome? Is that the right term?
No, that's if you're kidnapped, you fall in love with your kidnapper. I mean, she wasn't kidnapped. She wasn't being held against her will.
She was held captive in a marriage that she couldn't get out of because she wanted a baby.
Yeah, but then she was out of it. So that's not Stockholm because she was completely out of it.
And then she was held captive by keeping him in a boat because she couldn't let anybody know he was in the boat.
You're so reaching.
I know.
She just made a dumb decision.
Well, yes.
A dumb decision. How do you feel about the romance in terms of the character? Are you okay with it, or do you want it to...
I'm fine with them making out because it's 2014. We know people are making out all the time. They're making out because people have needs, and that's just the way it is. But they're not together romantically. It was the moment. The moment got them.
That looked pretty romantic where I come from.
No, it was just done for TV.
That's okay? All right, sweet.
Done for TV.
Good to know, Troy. Now we know where you stand.
I don't think they're together in a loving relationship. They just did it for the fact that they were both there, needed something to do because the boat wasn't moving yet.
Troy is one of those people
afterwards,
we call
but
a
not
swinger. Just so you know, he's a swinger.
You saw me put my hand on Aaron's knee earlier.
If you do that again, I swear I'm probably going to make out with you. Liz or Masha Rostova. Do you want to call her Liz or Masha?
Liz.
Okay, she is now officially...
Just so I don't have to hear you say Masha, Masha, Masha.
They say at the beginning that she is the enemy to the Cabal.
Yes.
Is she, in fact, an enemy because of Red, or do you think she's an enemy because of her mom? Or both, or none? Or is there something more to her that we don't know yet?
Okay, focus now. That's a really good question. Okay. If the Justice Department, who we think is the Cabal, calling the guy... saying, what about the daughter, what about the daughter, what about the daughter? That tells me that they considered her an enemy from the beginning because she shot one of their agents or one of their members. Her dad used to be a Cabal member. And so she's always been an enemy of the Cabal, and that's why Red had to protect her.
See, that's kind of what I think. I think that she has always been a member, or she has always been one that was wanted by the Cabal.
Okay.
They just couldn't find her. I think that Red placed her to get her out of the way, and now they've firmly established who she is. They know who her mother is. They know her connection. I think that's part of why Red had to come out.
So are we saying that if we go back...
That's my theory, but I'm usually wrong, so don't put too much stock in anything I say.
2 for 12.
Yeah.
1 for 6. How's that for math on a podcast?
Yeah,
so, thank you. So, I think that if we look at it from the timeline perspective now about Red putting Tom into Liz's life and then Tom backing out because of the Berlin thing and then falling in love with her, I think that the reason why Red came out of hiding wasn't necessarily to protect Liz from Berlin. It was because if Berlin got to Liz, then Liz would have been exposed to the Cabal.
Okay.
Hence why we named the show what we did, The Blacklist Exposed.
The Blacklist Exposed? Is that why we named it that?
Exactly.
I thought it was because you just told me that's what we're going to call it.
That's exactly why I called it that.
Okay.
I see into the future through the TARDIS in the back of the room.
Okay. The flash drive. Where'd the flash drive come from? Because that was one of the cutout moments. I did not see that.
The flash drive came from Drop-Off's apartment.
Okay. So now did he put it in her pocket or she took it?
She took it.
She took it?
She took it.
Thank you. Thank you. Apparently,
your wife pays attention.
Hey, she's right there. She's on the ball. And thankfully, now she knows the rules of what you can do in marriages.
Exactly.
Sweet. Win on my part.
If you're in a marriage, you need to respect your marriage. I didn't say that. I said other
I'm pretty
people
sure
that
you
aren't
just
in a
said
marriage.
swinging is appreciated.
I said
and
that if you're
approved.
not in a marriage like Liz and Tom were not, they do what they have to do.
I am secretly a spy. That clears me from everything I want to do now. Yay! When Liz pulls a gun on Connolly, there's that moment where anybody that's ever watched a TV show, all of us have watched TV shows, where you have Cooper talking her down, right?
Right.
So for me, I'm like, great, we get another one of these because we never. And everybody that's ever seen one of these in a TV show, all you ever say is, "God, just shoot him, just shoot him." They never shoot him, right? They never shoot him. You wanted Cooper to shoot him? Oh, that would have been fantastic. I was never sick. Bam.
Well, see, I was waiting for Tom or Red or somebody to come in from the back door and shoot over her.
All those Tylenol I took for nothing. All that Tussin I rubbed in it. Connolly? Oh, he's really dead. He's asking if Connolly was really dead. I'm pretty sure he was really dead. He looked pretty dead. Anybody think he's still alive? You think he's alive?
I thought he was alive because I thought they had him on a resuscitator. Or it wasn't like the car was empty with a bag. They had it hooked up.
Okay.
That's just me. I don't know.
Someone in our audience thinks that he's still alive and hooked up to a resuscitator. If that's true, then that would clear Liz, or that would get her out of murder charges.
Right, then it'd just be like premeditated third-degree assault or something.
Well, it'd be you shot this guy in the chest.
Right.
Whatever that charge is.
Assault, battery, yeah.
You shot that guy. That's actually a charge. It's actually a legal standard. So where were you at?
Connolly, I go with your theory. Show me a body in a bag in the ground with their face before they're dead.
Yeah, I don't consider anybody dead unless I actually see them buried.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to what I'm saying. That was a moment that I thought was probably my favorite moment of the season because I get so tired of that trope. I really hate that trope. That's one of my least favorite tropes in television or movies or anything else is when a character that you just know is never going to shoot somebody pulls a gun on somebody and somebody always talks them down. I hate that. I hate it as a fan. So the fact that she actually shot somebody, I almost wanted to jump up and scream because I love that.
I think it was a great twist. I wasn't expecting it because...
Nobody expects it because they never shoot them.
Well, I saw a trope like that this season on a different show, and I actually liked the trope in that show in that context.
I never liked that. Never. I'd have to see it.
You have to see it.
Maybe there would be an exception, but I've never liked it.
And we're protecting the people that have not seen that show because it was this
I don't even know what show you're talking
finale. So I think it was great that she pulled the trigger. I think it sets up something very interesting that we don't even know what's going to happen next because it depends on who's really coming after her. You know, is it the Cabal or is it the United States government? Is she
I'm pretty
a
sure
Russian?
It's both now.
Yeah,
it's both now.
Because we talked about if you commit an act of crime on U.S. soil and she's of Russian descent, did she basically just declare war on the U.S.?
Yes, pretty much. I would say to a degree, and on the Cabal as well.
Yeah. Well, everybody's got it on the Cabal now. I can't believe that's the one thing. I can't believe they published the article so quickly. Like, kudos to that person that published that article
they work
because
fast.
they're dead next episode.
Yeah. They're going to die over the summer, poor writer.
That newspaper's shutting down.
Well, one thing that happened, because she shot Connolly, that triggered a flashback, and she remembered what happened. She remembered the night of the fire. And what she said was, and I wrote it down so I didn't forget or get anything wrong. She remembered that she killed someone, her mother or father. She said her father. At one point, she did say her father.
Yeah, because the tall guy was pushing the short lady. You saw the long hair. The short lady, kind of shorter lady, moves away. And then he goes, oh, and then bang, and then he falls down.
Anyway, what she said, I could hear them arguing. He was hurting her.
He was hurting her.
He was hurting her. So her mom, we assume.
Correct.
We assume.
And
I know why my father died that night. I shot him. That's why you blocked my memory. Not to protect yourself, but to protect me. You are my savior. Do you agree that Red is her savior?
Absolutely. Who would want to protect somebody more than a parent?
We get it. The mom theory. We got it. But do you think Red is legitimately her savior?
Absolutely. From the burn scars at the end of season 1.
For most of this season, you've said that there's no way Red does anything selfless because he's a selfish son of a...
You can still do something selfless, but still have it be selfish. He could save Liz because he wants to save Liz, but he's still saving Liz because he wants to get something from her.
But you also, not too long ago, said you thought he was going to save Liz simply for the fact that he needed the fulcrum. Well, he got the fulcrum and he stuck with her. So are you willing to say that maybe that theory wasn't completely accurate?
Yes.
Okay. So, boom, you lost one.
Fine.
Yeah. Can't get them all, can you?
I got the big one that matters, and mine's still going strong after 2 seasons.
The mom thing?
The mom thing.
That isn't. I wouldn't say going strong because you can't
That
disprove
was a
it.
clear point.
Unless
I'm
I
pointing at
have
the
like
TV
a
again. It was a
doctor's note. I don't think I can prove it.
I don't think it could prove
Or
it.
disprove it.
But it's still a plausible theory.
I think Red's an alien and a robot.
There you go.
I'm going with that theory.
It's your crackpot
Can't
theory.
prove me wrong. Can't prove me wrong.
You have no supporting evidence in the show, though.
Some notes here. Agent Rory said he was in a body bag and wheeled out.
Yes.
And also, but if she was born in Russia, how did the FBI not find out when they ran background and fingerprints? And they never explained the burns on Red's back. That is frustrating. Yeah, that is kind of frustrating, actually.
Yeah.
That makes one assume that he was in the fire, which doesn't disprove your stupid theory. So, Red was there, assumingly he was there.
Yes.
He or she was there.
It could prove my theory wrong.
But if it was a she, why would he get plastic surgery and leave the burns? Just to remember that night. One of those things.
That's a bad trope. I agree with you there.
Okay.
So, yes, maybe Red was there, and Red helped Katerina get Liz out of there.
I'm still going
Plausible.
with uncle or something along those lines. That's my personal theory. Familiar tie, but...
What about a comrade?
What's that? Red was the mom's lover. Oh, maybe that's why he was hurting her. Oh, look at that.
It's possible.
That would work.
It's one of the names I knew her as.
It's a lot more possible than I went and had surgery and had parts added.
And kept the burns.
And kept the burns.
Unless the burns came...
What's that?
So you're saying that she's not actually Masha Rostova?
No, she's saying... No, what somebody here said was that she could easily hack in. Somebody could hack in and cover that information up fairly easily.
That's
we
true.
see it in every show and movie that comes out.
Right, because we put it all in the big box in the sky in Lord Baltimore.
Exactly. It happens in Revenge all the time. Lizzie is Red's love child, somebody said. Oh.
But then he'd be her father, and he does not lie to Liz. And he already said in Ansel Garrick Part 2, no, I am not your father.
I still say he has an out on that because he considers the man that raised him her father. Yeah, it's biologically her father, but it doesn't consider him her father.
So you're saying it's a white lie?
No, I'm saying it's a roundabout.
It's a
lie of omission? He would do a lie of omission.
Lie of omission.
That's the consensus, yeah.
Hang
on, somebody's talking.
Wait, that goes exactly to what I said, though. If it's a lie of omission, I said he's not telling her the truth, and you said a lie is a lie.
I said that. That doesn't mean Red believes it.
Okay.
I don't know how many points I'm at now. What were you saying?
I did the fraction math.
Liz's mom had an affair, but that was the mother's husband from Russia. And then he
You're saying...
abused her for whatever, but Red was actually...
So you're saying Liz's mom and Red had an affair. Liz is the product of that affair. And then husband found out Katerina shot husband. That's the theory. Okay?
No, Masha shot husband.
Masha shot husband. I'm sorry. That's a good theory. That's two people that think that theory. That's a really good theory.
But if
it's definitely more plausible than yours.
So you're saying the lie of omission is what helps the rule stay intact, because he did say, "I'm not your father." No, I'm not your father. And
it depends on how you want to
classify it.
There's plenty of people that have kids but aren't their parent. They're just a biological.
Well, so that's a different thing. Parent is one thing. Father is father. But parent...
Well, no, everybody has a different defense or a different perspective on what constitutes father. Yeah, he doesn't want to step on Sam's memory. So I could see the biological argument.
Okay.
What's that? And he killed him in the hospital, like good friends do. I hope somebody will kill me and my...
Yeah, Sam was her parent.
Sam was her father. He raised her.
Yeah.
So I think that works. It's a roundabout.
Okay.
And he also... Red never wanted her to be like him. Is she like him now? Because she killed Connolly?
Because she killed somebody... because she killed somebody in cold blood. She's now one of those Mexican fish that's swimming into the cave. She's gone into the cave a little bit.
Why'd you have to go Mexican on him?
That was the fish. That was the story.
Okay.
I'm like one of these Mexican fish that swam into the cave and couldn't see the light, and if I come out, will I ever see the light again? And would I recognize it? She's gone from the light into the darkness just a little bit by pulling that trigger in cold blood.
Okay. Rory wants to add, Red was there the night of the fire, as he said in Luther Braxton, and he didn't raise Lizzie, so he's not her father, so it's not a lie. Suck it! That's right. The internet said it. Bam.
Is it on Wikipedia yet? Because I know to be really true.
It will be by the end of this episode, because I'm going to put it there.
Oh.
No, but we'll look at that. Hey, can you put your phone down? We're still doing a live podcast.
I can hear you. I'm good.
Yeah. Okay, Red. Let's go to Red. Red knows a guy. He always knows a guy.
Yes.
Like he knows a lot of guys.
Lots of guys.
Yeah.
And girls.
And girls.
The botanist.
And botanist, yeah.
With missiles.
He says throughout the episode, or at one point in the episode, which a lot of people have jumped on, that he's a sin eater. And a sin eater is someone who basically absorbs other people's sins so that they can come out clean. What do you think of that? I mean, him, a self-described sin eater, by the way.
Yeah, I don't like that concept. That concept bothers me, I guess.
Because why?
You don't take on stuff to yourself to come out looking good at the end of the day, unless there's. It's weird to me. I didn't like the concept for Red. Red's not that kind of character to me. Like, I look at Red as being very calculating and manipulative, but it's not to take on other people's issues.
Okay.
Do I have that right?
Yeah. Or maybe she said, "You are my sin eater," instead of savior. That's what somebody's saying.
No, Chris said he said sin eater.
Right, but I said at one... Well, Carol was saying that Lizzie, you are my sin eater to Red, not savior. So if I heard that wrong, my apologies, Carol. Get off my back. Why are you attacking me? Sorry. You can't just take points away because I get something wrong every now and again. It's live. The
weatherman's doing better than you
different.
now.
We'll have a little bit more calculated episode next week. Next week. Okay, well, Red, he gives this little speech to investigative journalists. This is the part you wanted to talk about. Put your phone down.
I'm getting the questions right.
So, while he's doing this is the one part of the episode I really never thought was going to happen. And he releases all the information to the journalists, and he tells them basically, you're the most respected in the world. And I assume he gathered them there. Yeah,
absolutely.
And he releases the information to him. Was that a good play? Or was that his only play?
That was his only play. I said, I need people that know this information that can keep... It's kind of like the Cabal. So if the Cabal is this group of people that can literally keep changing members and replacing people if people end up falling apart, then he needs that same kind of a network. He needs people that can have the information and keep the information flowing throughout the interwebs, newspapers, TV, what have you, that if people start getting taken out by the Cabal, someone else is always going to have the information to be one step ahead.
And we did learn exactly what the Cabal was. And I think it's always been alluded to, but there's a very detailed description. It's a shadow organization. They have ties with food, money, fuel, commodities, information. I mean, their world.
They basically run the show.
They run the show. Yeah, they run it. And I just thought that was a great little twist that I did not see coming.
Agreed.
I was very surprised by that one. That was probably my favorite surprise. Not the shooting Connolly or the touchy moment on the bench, but that moment. That was really my biggest surprise. I know we got to wrap it up pretty soon, but the closing shot.
You get your biggest surprise, and I don't.
What was your biggest surprise?
My biggest surprise was that she pulled the trigger.
That was pretty close.
Yeah,
I did not see that coming either.
And the fact that it unlocked the memory at that moment, I thought that was a really cool way for the memory to be unlocked.
Because we've been wondering exactly, because the memory is going to come flooding back, but we didn't know how it was going to be introduced.
Right.
And, too often it's like somebody bumps into a freaking pole and they're like, oh, it all came back to me. So I was glad that something actually triggered it.
That's how she gets out of it. It's the insanity plea.
I don't think that's going to work.
I didn't shoot him. Me as myself shot him because I was thinking of my former little child self when my child self shot somebody.
My former daughter of a Russian spy.
And that makes her crazy, and then she gets the insanity plea, and then they break her out of an asylum.
Okay. That's never going to work.
Nope.
But it's a good plan.
But
what did you think about the closing shot? And I mean, there's a great little montage where Rocket Man plays, which I thought was a great choice.
Totally.
It's a great song. But they have the closing shot where first it starts with them on a bench, and they have a touchy moment, which I thought was beautiful, and we kind of talked about that already. And then Liz and Red, the final shot of the season is that they're both on wanted posters right next to each other. What do you think? Does she deserve to go that quick to the top of the list?
Well, in this case, yeah, she killed an AG. I really like the fact that at the end of the day, you have the juxtaposition of the two of them together on those wanted posters because it means that they're always forever tied. The show started with them being tied together. The show now has them going on the run being tied together, which means their wanted posters are tied together. The real question is if Reddington had hair in that poster, why wasn't the poster for Liz with the wig? That's what I wanted to know.
Okay. It's an odd thing to worry
Red
about.
has hair in that one. Why couldn't she just bring the wig back just for the wanted poster? I think that would have been funny.
Fair enough. That's funny. Carol forgives me, by the way. Thank you, Carol. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm sorry I butchered your thoughts. I think it's going to do it for this live show because we got to wrap it up because the cafe people want to leave, I think. Or the cafe owners want to leave, I should say.
Yes.
They close at 10. Whoops. We're over a few minutes.
That's okay. We'll make sure we get all the theories from the Facebook group, the Twitter, the chats, and everything, and we're going to do a special episode next week.
Yes, next week we are going to do a season wrap-up. It'll be more orchestrated, more detailed, because we'll have time to actually gather our thoughts and composure. So that's going to come same time as it always does. Be sure to get your thoughts in. How do they find us?
You can find us by going to goldenspiralmedia.com/the blacklist. You can go ahead and call us at the phone number there on the left-hand side. You can use the send voicemail button right there on the left-hand side, or just go ahead and give us an email at the feedback, which is also there on the webpage.
Now, Special Agent Intel, is that updated or is that not updated?
That is not updated. We're going to do
Troy's going to add that later.
We're going to do all the Special Agent Intel in the finale episode next week.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead and we'll wrap her up?
You bet. So thank you so much. Number one, to the Blue Box. Thanks a lot for everybody for coming out.
Thanks to Blue Box Cafe.
Woo!
Thanks, appreciate it.
Thanks to all of you watching. Thanks to all of you guys watching live on the interwebs. This was an experiment for us. Thank you so much for joining us. And last but not least, we just want to say thank you so much for a great season of The Blacklist. John Bokenkamp, Megan Boone, Red Reddington, James Spader, everybody.
He's not a real person.
I know.
Is he?
He's awesome.
He might be.
I like Red. Thanks to everybody on the cast and crew. Great stuff for Season 2. Season 3 is going to be even better. Again, we'll be back next week.
Season 3 is going to be better. You hear that? John Bokenkamp, if you're listening.
Season 3 is always better. Lost it was better. Alias it was better. Fringe it was better. I said all of them in one show. There you go.
God. I just hate you. I just hate you. Well, it's been a great season. Now, I do want to, in closing, where do you rate the finale? Some people are loving it on the social media. Some people are a little, I think some people wanted it to go a little further. How do you feel in terms of a wrap?
If I rate the episode by itself, I give it a 7 because it was 45 minutes of thank you, I already knew that, and 15 minutes of holy crap, I just needed to go to the bathroom like 5 times. As the series,
I still have to go to the bathroom.
I know. As the season finale,
right now.
I think I think everything tied up really nicely, so I would give this season an 8 because I gave last season a 9.5.
Ooh, and somebody said we got an Alias in finally.
Yes.
And Teresa really enjoyed. Hey, thanks, Teresa. Appreciate that. You give it an 8?
I give the season an 8 compared to season 1.
And the finale?
The finale, as a standalone episode, I gave a 7.
Okay. I would probably be right on there with the season. I am glad that it came back around. I got a little frustrated with
everything.
Some viewers, actually, because they were really hating on Liz a lot, and I didn't think it was all warranted because I think you need to see the season play out. There were a few lulls, but I think anytime you have a series like this that goes 22 episodes, you are always going to have those. So for me, as somebody that's watched probably more television than I care to admit, I am more forgiving in terms of that because I realize that you got to take it as a whole. And as a whole, I thought it was a very good season.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it more as a serialized story this season than I did last.
And
I felt like last had a lot more standalone stuff, and this one was a lot more connected.
I think it was brilliant, actually, though, because you set up a lot of serialized stuff last season by having those standalone episodes. So you got people that were interested in standalone episodes into the show, and then they stick around for season 2, and then you get the more genre-form serialized television. So so far, the showrunners have done excellent work with this particular product, and I hope they continue for a long time because it's been absolutely fantastic. And they have good stuff coming up with The Player is the new NBC show that's going to be on after the Blacklist. Wesley Snipes.
Always been on Black.
Yep, from the same guys that make the Blacklist, so that'll be on right after the Blacklist on Thursday nights in the fall.
Oh, God. Now I got to watch Passenger 57 again.
I know.
Again. Where can they find you, Troy, over the summer? And we are going to, like I said, we're going to have another episode next week for the season. So.
Remember, at the Blacklist GSM on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Clamor. We got some great clamors, actually, from all of you guys out there, so we're actually going to play the clamors.
He's obsessed with this clamor
on next week's episode.
Obsessed.
Some really good stuff so far, so we're going to play all those clamors next week. And you can also make sure you come to the Facebook group. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. It's a lot.
We got to vote on them because we have to have our super secret special agent that we said we were going to do. I can't talk anymore.
I don't know what he's talking about. He just does stuff and he tells me later.
The Blacklist Exposed Facebook group, check us out there. But for us, you can catch me at Troy Heinritz on Twitter. That's Heinz Ketchup, Ritz Crackers, no Z in the middle. And then make sure that you also take a look at UnderTheDomeRadio.com later this summer where I'll be hanging out trapped in Chester's Mill.
And you can find me every single week talking about movies and TV on The Hollywood Outsider. Look at Troy did this. That was very nice.
Very nice.
That's available at That's available at thehollywoodoutsider.com. That's every single week. We talk about movies and TV, and we have fun doing it. You can also find us on Twitter at H_outsider.
And not at Kaz_Peters.
Well, you can go. I've got a personal Twitter, Kaz_Peters, but I'm never there.
And he likes underscores.
I really like underscores. I don't know why.
And because I'm cool, I'm going to say it this week. So be sure to subscribe. I'm sorry, I can't even do it because Rayon always does it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Be sure to send in your feedback, stay subscribed, but most importantly, keep yourself off of
The Blacklist. The Blacklist Exposed is a Golden Spiral Media production, copyright 2015. Find more of our great podcasts at goldenspiralmedia.com/podcasts.